are on. Guys, welcome to another group call. Today, we're talking about training smart. Really excited to talk about this. It was actually Finney's idea to have this topic, and I'm super excited to bring up some things here, use some examples, and go through some things because it's something that I have learned through my journey in trying to listen to the body, and I'm really excited to see how you guys like it. So I guess the core sort of question or philosophy that we're going to try and understand today is just like how do we match the training stress to the body's ability to recover? That's essentially what we're trying to learn. Is like if I have something set, am I going to just go out and blindly do that, or am I going to try to adjust and train smart essentially? Okay. First, sort of like starter questions, so let's like get the ball rolling. Has anyone here, just by a show of hands or put your hands up, whatever, have anyone ever felt guilty for not hitting certain numbers on a plan? Yeah, yeah. Few hands up. All right. I definitely have. Definitely have. That's pretty common. I think like when you see a number on the plan and then you pushing or whatever and you can't quite get there, you naturally will feel like, oh shit, I want to get it. But I think that it's really important to take a step back and to figure out what are we actually trying to get from any given session, and then try to get that regardless of the numbers that we're essentially pushing or trying to reach and stuff like that. So now a bit more of a deeper question that's going to hopefully open up the floor a little bit here. What usually happens when we go too hard too often? Like what usually happens? Anyone?
Um, Usually just you either get injured or you like burn out or you just have no energy and you just
Yeah.
cook yourself for the rest of the week.
The injury is a big one, isn't it? Like how common is it that we go too hard too often and then all of a sudden a niggle comes up, and then what usually happens once we get a niggle?
You stop training, your load goes down, and then potentially you might mentally be like, fuck, this sucks, and then kind of goes from there. That's me anyway.
Yeah. I think the first step of that is exactly right. Like you skip a session or the next session we cut short or whatever because we're so fatigued. So it's really important that we have the plan and then we don't just go hammer and tong for one big session, because fitness in triathlon is built around consistency. It's literally like the whole idea of today's call is that consistency over a long period of time is going to be way better for you than just hammering and nailing a session. So that's what we're going to try to sort of just figure out and understand today. I've written a bit of a cliche line here that we shouldn't be trying to win each workout. Each workout should be kind of like a module, right? That we need to complete. And on any given module, we're kind of learning things or improving on different things. What are some of the things that we're going to learn or improve on any given day? Let's just roll some things out that a session might be designed to improve or learn on. What's something that let's use a long run, for example. What are we going to try and improve on at a long run?
Pacing.
Pacing is a good one. Yeah.
Durability.
Durability is a massive one. I think it's an underestimated one as well. Yeah. Durability.
Aerobic capacity.
What was that? Sorry?
Aerobic capacity.
Yeah. Aerobic capacity. Perfect.
What Resilience.
Else? Resilience. I like it. Yeah.
Practicing fueling.
Fueling. Big one, Liam. Absolutely love that. Yeah. Jesse, I love your word resilience. I'm going to shift it slightly to sort of like mental resilience or mental toughness, right? Because there's some sessions that we're going to do in like the build phases that are going to be designed to test your mental capacity. Like, can you get to the point of fatigue and then be like, I'm okay here? So going through them, we've got aerobic capacity, durability, nutrition, mental toughness. We had pacing from Kane. I like that one. There's sort of one more that's really important that we're sort of going to base this whole call on today. Any ideas before I give you a hint?
Body awareness.
Yeah.
Recovery.
Recovery is fun, but fitty, absolutely. Body awareness. Body awareness, there's a scientific word for it. I looked it up because I actually didn't know it. It's like interoception or something. But essentially, body awareness is like, if I get thirsty, my body gives me signals to tell me that I'm thirsty, and then I go and get a drink, right? Or if I'm tired, my body gives me signals that I'm, feeling tired, and I go and sleep. When we train, we're essentially getting a whole bunch of these signals throughout training. And part of the skill of learning of a triathlon is learning to understand and listen to those signals. And I think that this has been something that I've really, I feel like I've developed a lot of it in my journey, and it's been something that I haven't quite seen a way to teach it yet to you guys. Especially like when I'm just writing a program for you, I give you a session or whatever. So I struggle to understand how that feels for you as opposed to what it looks like for me. But it's this body awareness is something I really want everyone to start trying to pay attention to and listening to. So yeah, I wrote a little definition down. Essentially, body awareness means that your ability to sense what is going on inside your body, such as fatigue, effort, breathing. It could be like things like hunger, right? And then being able to adapt to that. So, what are some ways that we can sense or see that our body awareness is like improving on any given day or any given session? How would I notice that I'm my body awareness might be improving?
You might start thinking about like your breathing more, um, what your heart rate's doing, stuff like that. Can control your
Yeah.
heart rate a bit better.
Yeah. So you might be like swimming. I assume Kane has experienced something like this in the last month or two. I think you used to swim a kilometer in about 24 minutes, Kane. And I imagine when you were doing that, that your body was just like, it was frantic, right? It was like sort of panicking and hectic, breathing rates going up, you're sort of scrambling. And now you would be going through that K at 17 minutes and you would be a lot more effortless. So that is you're noticing that the signals aren't as strong and you're a lot more controlled. One for me that just stood out like a sore thumb was I would be doing my long rides when I was in the Netherlands, and I would be getting to sort of 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and I'd be starting to bonk. Even though my nutrition was relatively good, I would start to hit a wall, and I would just get to the point where I was like, "What am I doing wrong?" Like I know that I'm, fueling as well as I can be, but I'm still hitting this wall. What's going on? And then I started like implementing caffeine, like and intentionally using caffeine, like the right amounts, I think. And I noticed immediately that when I would have that fatigue point at 2.5, 3 hours in, I would have a caffeine gel with 100 milligrams of caffeine. And then 10, 15, 20 minutes later, I'm like, whoa, this feels a lot effortless, right? And not only did I learn that caffeine makes the perceived effort less, I actually learned to understand the signal of what's happening with the fatigue coming in and then be able to go, oh, I'm going to use caffeine here and that's going to help me, right? So that was one that just stood out a lot for me. And you can find these signals in everything. Like it could be you've done a big brick session on a Saturday. Now you're doing your long run and your legs are just fatigued. Like the start of your long run for the first 3 or 4 Ks is just like a grind. You can just feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to get through this long run of an hour 45, hour 50. Then all of a sudden you start to see the signals. Oh, my body's waking up, right? Like my legs are starting to, free up, loosen up a little bit. And then all of a sudden 4 or 5 Ks in, you're like, holy shit, it's only another like hour or so until I'm done. And then you feel way better. So looking at that signal of like, yeah, the body loosening up is a really key one. So are there any others before we move on from like sort of these signals that we can, does it make sense what I'm mentioning here?
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I feel like and I guess it sort of lends to what you were saying where your legs feel heavy, but perceived exertion. Um, if you're in tune with how something should feel at what pace or what wattage, then I feel like you can sort of tell how the session's going to play out a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think until like when you're getting into triathlons or when you're still an amateur in triathlons, there's so much going on. There's so much to learn and think about, nutrition, fueling, this, that, right? That sometimes you forget the most basic thing of like, what your body needs. Like your body is really good at telling you what it needs. And if you learn to listen to it, it actually helps you so much if you just pay attention to those signals. Dave Scott, I don't know if any of you know Dave Scott. He was a world champ Ironman in the 80s, I think it was. There was like Garmin's coming out and all this data with the heart rates and everything like that. And he literally would ride the entire Ironman, world champion. I think he won it like 6 times without any watch. He never wore a watch. He didn't wear any of this. And he was just like, I know how to race this race. Like, I know what I need. And my hope and my goal, we will never do this, by the way, but I would love for you guys to get to a race with the confidence and clarity that you can go, I could go out there without any data and get 95% of what my best race could be. That's what I want, right? Like, I want us to learn how to listen to those cues and then race and execute really, really well. So next time you're out on any of your sessions, have a look for them. Have a look for some of these signals and go, okay, Alex mentioned this. I'm going to try and feel what it feels like at this power and go above that, what happens. But yeah, hopefully that's making sense. I feel like I'm rambling.
Pitch in there?
Yeah, please.
I feel like for me, I've always just been like the smash, like last year, and the year before. But like I'm super in tune with myself now, especially because I'm getting super tight hips, and I just have to be so like aware of that and like know that my body doesn't want the super high intensity stuff all the time. It just sort of wants that lower volume, and I can tell if I'm going to have a good or bad session sort of straight away, just based off what my body's telling me. But it's really helped just trying to pay attention. Like you can really tune into how you're feeling, and
Yeah.
it's really useful.
And that's the other thing. Like, I'm going to be the first person to put my hand up and say that I am by no means perfect, right? I don't think anyone in this room is. And there are going to be days where I might set a session for you guys that is above where your capability is at on a given day. And I would really expect you guys to be able to go, oh, that is looking either too hard or too easy. Listen to your body and adjust accordingly, right? Because that's essentially what I want you to learn, is to listen to your body. A question, I mean, it's I guess a rhetorical question here, but if we were to do like a long run, right? And let's say the long run's at 80% intensity, and that 80% intensity gets us 100% of the durability gains that we want to get out of that long run. Let's just say that's the scenario, right? What do you think the durability gains would be if we did that, say, at 70% intensity? So 10% intensity less. How much of that percentage gain do you think we get of the durability? It's a tricky question. Does that make sense?
I think you're asking is like how much durability would you lose by doing that lower intensity? Is that what you mean?
I'm saying, like, the question I'm asking is, like, if we dropped intensity by 10% on a long run, how much do we still gain a similar amount of durability gains that we want?
I would say yes, for sure. It's gained very similar.
Right. So let's just assume that, Kane's got his long run this afternoon, did a big brick session yesterday, right? He is feeling super fatigued. I think he's actually feeling pretty good and he might smash this long run. But let's say he's feeling super fatigued and he's just like looking at that 2 hours being like, man, I'm just not going to be able to hit those paces, right? If he just drops the expectation and goes, I'm going to get out there and do it at 70% instead of 80% because I'm feeling really fatigued. He gets out there. He's still going to get 2 hours on feet, which is going to be absolutely incredible when he gets to race day. And what's very likely going to happen is he'll start at 70%. That'll be the first 4, 5, 6Ks. And then he'll be like, holy crap, I'm actually feeling pretty good. Now I'm going to build into this run. So I guess the learning here is like, yes, there's always numbers to try and reach. But more importantly, we need to listen to our body and try and get what the goal of the session out, regardless of how you're feeling. Fair?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I mean, the other thing I do sometimes, if I've got one of those days where I'm like, this is going to be a tough one, I'll sometimes just do it in the treadmill, like do it on the treadmill so I can keep up with the pace and everything, keep up a good run. But then the treadmill's a lot lighter on your knees, and a lot lighter on, I try not to do most of my runs indoors because obviously running on a treadmill, you can kind of just get away with cruising a little bit. But sometimes if I'm like, I really want to get the session done, I don't want to skip it, I don't want to drop off too much, I'll just do it on the treadmill. But yeah, it's the thing is, I was listening to this guy the other day, and he said the thing is, as long as you get the run in, it's far better to get the whole thing in at lower intensity than to try and keep up the intensity and drop some of the Ks off, because you'll do better getting the full distance in.
Yeah, 100%. Consistency is going to trump everything. I had a moment in the Netherlands where I was doing a lot of volume, and then I got to my long run. I think it was like 26 scheduled kilometers, or the time for 26 kilometers. I was scheduled by time. And I got there and my ankle was really sore, and I was thinking, oh, I can't do this. Why would I go out and run 26 kilometers today? This is going to just ruin me if I keep injuring it. And what I did was I got all my running gear out. I got dressed. I got outside, and after that, I'm going to run. I'm going to try and jog the first 900 meters and then walk. And I literally did that for 26 kilometers. I run 900 meters and walked 100. And I got through 26 Ks, or I think it was just like less actually because it was a lower pace. But I just had no injury risk, and I still felt like I got something done. And the durability that I got from that was massive. So yes, I 100% agree with you, Kane. Consistency is always going to be trump the perfect session, and lower intensity, you're still going to get heaps and heaps of gains from it. What are some signs that we can look for if if we are feeling super fatigued, or if we need to lower intensity? What are some signs that we look for in our body or our lifestyle or something like that?
Mood and soreness, I feel are the big ones, maybe, for me at least.
Absolutely. Mood, definitely. um, yeah, when I am feeling flat, man, it is just no good. Shaden, what about you? When I don't know if you're just happy listening in, but if you want to contribute, I want to try and feel like everyone's included. What do you look for when you're feeling like you might need a lower intensity? Shaden might not be there. Jesse, what about you?
Normally, like hunger for me, I think.
If you
Like
feel hungry,
yeah,
yeah.
That's a big one, and probably
Yeah.
like a bit lightheaded, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like it. What else can we use, Liam?
Generally, if I'm like just low energy, feeling like I need a nap, that's generally
That's a big one. Is sleep.
yeah.
Like let's just assume you've got a long run planned and you only managed to get 6 hours, 5.5 hours sleep. Is it fair to assume that we can go out and still do that long run at the intensities that's set?
Probably not.
Absolutely not, man. No way. And I think a lot of athletes, a lot of people miss this. They're like, oh, I've got this set. I'm going to cut my sleep short because I've got to go and do that session. And that is just, it's a really dangerous way to approach training, I think. So I think that we should absolutely, the intention should always be to do the perfect session or to do a really good session. But life is unpredictable, and when things happen, like you don't get enough sleep, you need to readjust and you need to think, what are the actual goals of this session? Am I going to get it out of it if I don't get
I
enough sleep?
I personally think like the big David Goggins mindset that's quite popular. I think that can be so dangerous in this sport. Like if you're not getting enough sleep, like all the big macho influencers say, "Oh, you don't need sleep or whatever. You just do the session anyway." I think the opposite. You're gonna break down. You're gonna get injured, and your motivation will get zapped. I feel like it might be sustainable for like a week or two, but after that, if you're not prioritizing sleep and recovery, it's not going to end well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so true. I did have a question on so in trying to in effect achieve the outcomes of each module or each session, if you're quite fatigued and you have like a threshold running interval session or something like that, how would you I guess change that session to fit in and still achieve the goals or a percentage of the goals of that session. But just knowing you can go out and do a session, but you are like quite fatigued going into it.
I would personally either do one of two things. I would lower the intensity of the intervals, just 5-10%, enough to what feels comfortable to you on a given day,
Yeah.
or change the session completely and slightly shift the goal. So if it's a threshold ride that's, an hour 15, make it an hour 30 steady, easy ride, right? And then you're still getting big gains, but you're not absolutely loading the body up. Does that make sense? That's what I would
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
Or
that
could
makes
you
sense.
move it? Could you like swap it with another session? So if you've got like a session, say you're on like a Wednesday and you got the threshold one that you don't want to do, swap it for like the Saturday's aerobic ride, and then at least if you don't need to get rid of the session completely, you might be able to do it further on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I usually do.
If it fits like that, scheduling differently is always good. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Finny, you want to talk about HRV for me?
Yeah, HRV is a big one. I don't know if you guys look at it or like have it on your watch, but
Who looks at their HRV? I do
yeah.
now. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand it at all.
Okay.
I
Can we
haven't looked
define
at
it?
mine. I was literally thinking about it the other day, and mine's been like all over the place. And I'm like, I don't get it. I've looked at it. I haven't. I don't understand.
It's like the first thing as soon as I wake up, even if it's like before my alarm, I'm just checking my watch. I'm like seeing where it's at. I feel like it's a really good indicator of how well your body's coping with like the training load or just work and everything put in
Can you
together.
explain it to us? Like, what
What's
is
that?
it? What is it? Explain it to us.
Um,
You're on the pump here.
yeah, I'm a bit on the pump. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's to do with how much your heart rate fluctuates during your sleep. But basically, you've got like a green zone of maybe like 30. And if it's in that, it's really good. But if it starts getting really low and your heart rate's not fluctuating too much, um, it just tells you how much fatigue your nervous system is going through and your body can't really cope. It's sort of when you start to burn out. So if my HRV is looking low, I would really tone back the intensity of the training for like a day or two. And if it starts to go back in that green, I'll go full bore again. But I think it's really important to really keep an eye on that. And your Garmin gives you a good indicator of where it estimates the good and the bad. And as
Yeah.
long as it's in that green, I think you're pretty good.
I believe the number is personal to each person, right? Based off their metrics.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
to give some context on, well, my experience in the last 2 months, after I did Busso, I celebrated and didn't do a lot of training, put on a little bit of weight and everything, probably lacked a little bit of sleep for the maybe 3 or 4 weeks after. And I've looked at the trend since that point. Like, it was about just after New Year's Eve, where I started to get back into routine and start training again. I was as far down on the red part of my HRV as I could be. And it took about like 2 to 3 weeks to finally get back into the green. And it's just been a linear line. So, like, it is, I'm a little bit skeptical sometimes on metrics like this. But in this case, it has without a doubt been a real good reflection of my training capabilities and my recovery and my rest. So when I saw that, because I brought this up with Finney recently, when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm actually start paying a bit more attention to this as well. So I would encourage you guys to look at that, the HRV, see where it is in terms of that green section, orange section, or red section, and then just use it as a metric. Am I getting enough to sleep? Am I recovering well enough from training? Because if it's not, well, we probably need to have a chat, me and you, and figure out what's going wrong here. Okay.
I,
Um,
I feel like as well, even it's got to do with like outside lifestyle choices as well. So if you have a lot to drink or like a few extra brewskis on a Friday, your HRV is going to plummet. Like it's
Yeah.
a really good indicator outside of training as
Really.
well, how well your body's coping with work, with your lifestyle choices, everything. Because even if you're not like training, your HRV can just plummet, and that's got to do with everything you're doing in life. But yeah, like Alex is saying, I think this is like a number one indicator for me of how well your body's coping.
It's a
Because
good
mine,
indicator if you're feeling sick as well. Like if you're starting to feel a bit sick and you're like, oh, I might be getting sick, you generally see it start dropping, and then if you do get sick, it'll plummet completely. So it's a good early warning sign. If you're feeling sick, you'll see it slowly going down, and then once it comes back up, you know you're pretty good clear again as well after your sickness.
Can I ask a question with that? Do you guys all wear your Garmin's on when you sleep?
For
Yep.
sure, for sure.
Do you?
No, I don't. I'm a bit skeptical with wearing that all the time while you
It's
sleep with.
It's funny. I've had the same thing as you, and the sleep score I really don't pay too much attention to. I like to wake up and I know if I've had a good sleep or not. But for this metric HRV, it seems to be a good reflection over a longer period of time than just a sleep score. The whole how much REM you get and deep sleep you get, I think it's a really good indicator. And for someone who hasn't ever tracked sleep before, I think it's really good. but I don't actually think it's super accurate with knowing what stages of sleep you're in. That's just my personal opinion, but I would recommend using the watch at night anyway. Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
From like my past experience as well, if you're like training in that like orange to red zone of HRV, that also really affects your sleep. So your nervous system becomes heightened always, and then when you go to sleep, you can't fully reset. And even if you're super exhausted, your body's just saying no. I'm like still fired up, and it's just this cycle. So you really have to tone down your training and get it back in the green before you go full bore again.
See, it's
Uh,
funny because I went like at the start of my build phase, my HRV was in like as red as it could possibly go, and it was terrible. And I was just like, oh, just ignore it. It's fine. Like, what would the Garmin know? And then as I've gone through the build weeks, and it was one of those things, like you say, like I was exhausted after like a long day, and then I go to sleep and I couldn't get like a deep sleep. And then, but now it's got back into the green zone, like pretty much as I'm nearing the end of all the build phase, which is good. But yeah, I've been like trying to slowly work it in, and I kept trying to look at it, and I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting like it'd be like 9.5 hours sleep, and I'd be like, that's a decent sleep, and then it would still be in the red, and I was like, I'm just ignore it for now. But now it's back in the green, so it's fine. I can pretend like I was doing it well.
why do you think it's come back into the green when you're training so much more?
I have no idea. I'm like, I mean, the number's gone up as well. So like before, the number was quite low. And then I think it's because it's like balancing out over the weeks. Like before, I think it was like low 50s, and now it's like 63. But it's balanced over the course of the training
Yeah,
rather than just than changing a lot. But
cool.
That's really good. You'll notice you'll start getting improvements faster as well. Like if you're just training in the red all the time, you don't absorb everything. So that's really good. I would say it's probably your body's just the load was so much, but your body slowly managed to just adjust itself, and you're back in the green, which is really good.
Yeah, if you come back to training after a while, it'll start off red because your body's just not used to the load at all. But if you've trained previously, it'll come back pretty quickly. Or if you've got a good aerobic base, it'll just build back up. And it's just that initial overload scared,
yeah,
realistically.
and it's doing all right. And the other thing I've noticed on like training peaks, my fatigue is like through the roof at the moment, but I feel fine. And like I feel good on like the Garmin, it says like body battery's good, everything's feeling good. But then like on training peaks, it's like you're about to die. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's good that you're listening to your body here. It's that body awareness, right? Like how much you're feeling. That fatigue number on training peaks. I think if we have like your CSS that's not updated correctly for whatever reason, or you're improving at super quick paces like you have been, then that number, the TSS that comes through, is going to be skewed because it feels like you're going way harder than it actually feels for you. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that fatigue number, it's really useful to use and we will use it, but it takes a little bit of time. This is what I've experienced anyway. It takes a bit of time for it to level out to sort of the right, I guess, numbers. That's just from my experience anyway. But we will be using it, especially in the lead up to Port Mac for you for 100%.
Yeah.
Any questions before? I've got a little bit of game that we're going to play after this, but I want to I want to see if we've got any other questions about body awareness, signals, what else we should look for. Jesse, fire away.
Bit of a Garmin question again.
Yeah.
Do you guys wear your Garmins like the whole day? Like every like just all time?
Yeah.
Is that how you should wear it?
That's how I wear it.
Excellent, okay.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you wear it all day?
Because I work and I have to wear a suit, and it doesn't really go well with a suit.
Okay.
But I'm also a bit worried about, not worried, I don't know, just the EMF signals in the watch. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
but I'll look into it. I didn't realize that it should be worn like all the time.
Completely personal preference, man. Like you don't have to. I love all the data. I love keeping all my steps tracked and things like that. Like, but I'm a little bit of a numbers nerd, so it's totally personal preference. You don't need to wear it, man, if you don't want to.
Sweet, I'll look into it.
Cool. Welcome to
have
Big
a
Dog Aid. Is he here yet? He's just chiming in. Go, Finny.
I have a bit of question. I feel like as we're being coached by you, there's like maybe more pressure to perform. What do we do if we like know we can't really do a session or do it to our full capacity, and we feel like you're going to be super disappointed? Should we? That's the thing. I feel like
And it's a fair question, but it seems silly when I hear it. Like it
yeah,
really does. I don't think there's anyone in this room or that I've coached that would ever have received a message from me saying like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you hit this session?" Right? Like, that's just not what I'm like, and I will never be like that. There, my philosophy is life is for living, and you should live life first and then train. And if you can't train, whether it's sleep or whether it's food or whether it's relationships, whatever it is, my advice to you is to just enjoy the process. So, like, don't put all the pressure on yourself. Do as best you can. Enjoy every single moment of it that you can. And then when you're feeling at the point where you're like, okay, now I'm good, that's when we target the big session. That's where we try to win sessions, right? But at no point should anyone ever feel guilty for not ticking off a session. I really want to make that known. And I appreciate the question because that's just not how I want you guys to think about me setting programs. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Does
For
anyone
sure.
feel like that? Has anyone felt like a big feeling on that recently, where they felt like the pressure of not hitting stuff? Be honest. I'm happy to.
Well, for me now that I've got a coach, you also want to impress yourself, but you also want to impress the coach as well. Um, so that definitely ties into everything. And sometimes you can get in your head, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for the coach? But I think that also comes back to body awareness, and you have to step back from it all and like, I'm not doing it for Alex. This is for me. I'm not doing it to impress him. I need to get through this session. I need to get to the race and not destroy myself.
Yeah.
And just be aware every session.
If you have the thought in your head that at any given point, Alex is only ever here to help me, that might make it a little easier. I am only here to make your journey better. Like, I am not here to make your life harder. That is not my job. And if you ever feel like that, you need to stop and reflect and then maybe just give me a call and say, hey, I'm feeling like this. And I'll be like, let's just relax. Because that's not what I'm here for, guys. I want to enjoy the process with you. And yeah, if it is ever too hard or if it's too easy, whatever, we work through that. Cade, welcome, mate. How are you?
Man,
Yeah.
it's been a big weekend. I won't lie. Like it's awful. I get into a really bad habit of like during the week. I have that thing where it's like you stay up later because you feel like you're seizing more time during the day. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Like I'll specifically stay up late so I can get more time back that I've lost. And during the week, that's okay. But then it comes to Saturday and it's like 11:30, 12, and I need to be up at 4 that I can't fall asleep. And then come Saturday, I like do my ride and I do everything and I do my run off. And then I'm just gone on Sunday. And like I was supposed to wake up this morning and go run and like I was dead. I slept for like 10 hours. And so now I'm gonna have to try and do it at like 8 p.m. and I'm dreading it.
I really wish you would join this call about 40
I
minutes.
know, dude. I know. That's on me. I swear it's like 1 p.m. and I'm like, is it 1 p.m. my time or 1 p.m. Perth time? And I was like, I'm just gonna stick to my guns. I think it's Perth time. And then I came home because I was like, oh, it's only at 3 o'clock and I had to get something. And then I checked on my calendar because I didn't have my phone on me and I was like, oh, it was 11 Perth time. So it was 1 p.m. Brisbane time. So I was like, okay, I'll just quickly join then and see what I can get.
Well, no dramas, man. I would recommend it will be really useful for you to watch this back, the first 40 minutes of this, because we literally talked about what you're talking about here in that want to sacrifice things like sleep and relationships or food for a training session. It's never that important, right? We obviously want to stress the body enough to adapt, but at no given point should we ever be in a phase of like, I'm hating this. I never want it to get to that. Okay. So just skip the run today if you're feeling super down. If you want to go out there and do super low intensity, that's always better. but take any of the pressure off, man, and enjoy the process more than anything, all right? Because you're doing a lot as well. You said to me you get up at 4 a.m., like you got work and shit like that. I'm blessed. I'm really blessed to be able to work and fit my training in whenever I can. I think I struggle to understand sometimes that you guys are doing work. You've got 9 to 5s and stuff like that, and sometimes I can't see that. So yeah, I want you to know, man. Like my job here is to make your life easier, not harder. And if it is too hard, then
Yeah.
we take a step back, all right?
And quick question: did you
Yeah.
get a haircut?
Yeah, I did. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I could. Yeah.
It was well overdue, man. Fuck. It was well overdue.
I thought I noticed it.
Thanks, man. You're the first
Yeah.
one to notice. Actually, none of these bastards did. So
It just doesn't look very good. We didn't want to say anything.
Oh, bro.
There's you with that. What is that? Beard and moustache, like goatee.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful.
This is
Look
the
at that.
game. So you do love that.
Very aerodynamic.
All right. Well, we're going to play a game, actually, guys. And seeing as Cade's the first bloke here and hasn't listened to this conversation, we're going to ask him the questions first. And then when we get to the harder ones, then we can all play. All right. So, Cade, we've got some easy questions for you, mate. It's just what's more important, okay?
Yep.
So, 4-hour brick on 6 hours sleep or a 3-hour brick on 8 hours sleep? What's more important?
3-hour brick on 8 hours sleep.
Absolutely. 100%. If you're skipping out on 2 hours of sleep to pick up 1 hour of training, the trade-off's just not there. All right. So, yep, we want to focus on the sleep. Ideally, the best case scenario is a 4-hour brick on 8 hours sleep. But when life happens, it doesn't always work out. Right? So, good. Here's another easy one for you, Cade. Perfect tempo paces and skip threshold ride due to fatigue, or lower pace / power on both?
The latter.
Yeah. We would rather do both sessions at lower pace and lower power than just cooking ourselves on a really hard tempo run and then skipping the threshold ride the next day. Correct. He's 2 from 2, guys. Get around him. Right. Last one for Cade. Last one for Cade, and then we're going to get into some harder ones that would require a bit more thinking. Skip a session for a best friend's birthday or miss the birthday to do the session?
Oh, am I close friends with the person?
He's top 3 friends.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to skip the session.
Skip the session is the right move, all right? You always want to enjoy life first because Remy mentioned this before. One of the things that can really affect training is mood. And if you are skipping a birthday to go and do your session, you're going to feel a little bit of resentment, a little bit of guilt, and therefore your mood's going to be shit, and therefore you won't get what you want out of the session. And Kobe Bryant said it best. Here's a good quote for you guys. It's not about how much you train. It's about how much time you spend present while training. So R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. Love that quote from him.
That's a good quote.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
If you're like just going through the motions, I reckon it's way more important to just be present and just focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't be present when you skip your mate's birthday, Cade, can you? Absolutely not. Right, 3 harder questions, and then we're sort of done for the day, unless we've got anything else we want to cover. So, what is more important? A 1-hour run with no brekkie or a 90-minute run with a carb brekkie?
The carb brekkie. 90-minute with the carb brekkie, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely more important. But is there a problem with doing a 1-hour run with no brekkie?
Not really. I mean, it's a shorter run.
Oh, sorry. One at a time. Go, Kano.
Yeah, I mean, the shorter runs you can get away. Like anything probably under an hour, you can probably get away with it as long as you're still fueling on the run, I reckon. But you probably still shouldn't, as I've been told by you multiple times. Probably should still have a brekkie beforehand, but you could get away with it in the shorter sessions.
Yep, absolutely. So convenience is really important. If you don't have time or you're just being a little bit lazy and you're going out for a 1-hour run, as long as it's not super high intensity, you should be sweet with getting through that without any breakfast. However, definitely always try to eat beforehand if you can. I would highly recommend the more carbs you can have before a session, the better. So try not to train fasted. But yes, the 90-minute run with a carb brekkie is always more important, but that one required a little bit more of a chat, I guess. Number 2, heart rate is high on the long run, all right, but you feel controlled, do you A, keep the pace, or B, slow it down?
Keep the pace.
Keep
No,
the pace.
keep the pace.
Keep the pace for
Yeah.
I feel like it's 50-50.
On the fence, Finny. I
I'm
like it.
definitely on the fence.
Kane?
I'd say probably slow it down.
Okay.
I mean, judging by the run yesterday, I was feeling good, and then I was told to slow it down. So I'm like,
Remy, you like to look at your heart rate quite often. What would you do?
I do like the heart rate. I think I would be taking stock of all the reasons why it might be high. Like, we get a lot of humidity here in Sydney this time of year, so it's gonna naturally be higher for whatever reason, or, um, trying to understand why I think's important. If your breathing's all in control, everything's in control, your heart rate's just high for some reason, then I would keep the pace.
I think
I
that's
like
a
that answer. That's a good answer.
great answer, man. Yeah, very, very good. So if it were me in my situation, I I I value RPE above heart rate. If I'm feeling really, really good, I use that more of a metric than I do as heart rate. However, I think and this is really, really important. I think until you learn to those signals and the body awareness that we're talking, until you're really in tune with your body, heart rate's a really good metric to use. And if the heart rate starts to spike, usually, and this is usually, that means RPE is going to spike. And it might not mean it initially, but it could really compound quite quickly. So unless you're really in tune with your body, there's a big risk in just being like, heart rate's high, I feel good, I'm just going to keep going, right? But I do value RPE, especially once you learn the body awareness that we're talking about. I do value RPE higher than heart rate. So I think Remy's answer was perfect. Really, really good.
I also think like some people might also be feeling really good at the end of the session. They might have done like a 20-minute brick or something. They're like, man, I could do another 10, 15 minutes. And they do that extra because they think they're feeling good or the numbers are good, and then they get injured. So that's why I'm on the fence. It's very like Alex was saying, you have to be very aware. Like if you don't have that awareness, I would go off the heart rate and be like, let's tone it down. My mind could be tricking me right here. We don't want to make things worse just so we can have a better session. So let's just tone it down a little bit. But until you have that body awareness, I think you can make a better call.
Love it. And thanks, Remy, for that really good answer before, mate. Love it. I've got one last one here. I'm literally going to read it. It's quite long, I think. Right. So heart rate looks good and you're holding power, but you're hating the long ride. Do you A, lower intensity, B, continue lower intensity and continue is A. B, stop workout and pick up tomorrow's session. Or C, suck it up and stick to what's scheduled.
Can I say,
What about
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a stickler for a little bit of self torture. So I'd probably like thug it out a bit. Like I'm a stickler for a little bit of self torture.
Okay. And so suck it up and stick to the pace that's
If,
scheduled.
yeah, if heart rate's good, power feels good, legs feel good, and like let's say it's just balls hot and I hate it and I don't want to be there, then I should probably be there for a reason and I need to just like thug it out.
Okay, good. Kane or someone else?
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did the same. It's like yesterday on my long ride, I thought, you know what? Like you were like, oh, you can take it easy if you want. And I was like, I'm just gonna ride as far away from my house as possible, and then I have no option but to turn around and come back. So I was like, fuck it. I just went like 45, 46 Ks away, and I was like, cool, you have to go back now. So deal with it. And luckily I fueled well and I felt good. But if you do it that way, you can't really I can't be like 45 Ks away and just call an Uber. So,
Yeah.
tough it
Liam
out.
Mosley, what would you do?
Oh, I'm a bit of a I sort of would just push through it. If heart rate isn't that good, there's quite often some days I just like I can't be asked training, but I'll just go out and do the session. And if I'm hitting the paces and doing well, I'll feel better at the end having ticked off,
Ooh,
knowing I did a good session
Yeah.
through
yeah.
it, than backing off just because I can't be asked. So that's sort of my mentality.
I like it. Remy.
I think it depends how far away you are from a race. Like if you're 3 months out, you're really hating a session, I mean, and you're just feeling worse and worse. like the first thing I'd probably try and do is just pause, especially on a long ride, just go get a coffee and then get back into it. But if you're like months out, you don't want to form a really shitty attachment to your long sessions. Like you just want to you want to enjoy it. But also there's an element of pushing through. Like if it's a bit hard and then just work through it, I
Yeah.
think.
Anyone else?
If I would like ask myself the question, am I gonna finish this session at this intensity? It's like, is it possible, or am I just like, no, this is way too fucking hard. I can't fathom getting to the end. If that's the answer, I'm dropping the intensity. But if I'm like, I can thug this out, I can just make it one more hour, and then once I make that other hour, I tell myself just make it one more hour. Then I'll keep the intensity. But if I know I'm not gonna finish, I'll have to lower the intensity just so I can finish it.
I like these answers. It's really useful. Jesse, do you want to go, or are you happy for me to?
I'd call if there was like a D. I'd just be like, call a friend, come pick me up.
Yeah.
Cry on the way to the car.
You know what? Like, I'm glad you said that there, because I actually don't think there's a right answer here, right? I think that every day is going to be different, and I will be the first person to put my hand up and say that I have had days where everything was okay, and I just stopped. Right? I had a swim. Well, I remember this swim. I was in the pool and I was just going, and everything was okay. But I just remember thinking, I was like, I can't do 3K right now. I just can't. My head's not in it, and it just comes back to that quote that we spoke about with Kobe, right? Like if my head's not there, sometimes stopping is the best thing. Now, I love the fact that I've got 5 or 6 people in this chat that are like, nah, fuck that. I'll just keep grinding it out here. That's a really important skill to have in Ironman, right? And long distance triathlon. But it is all day dependent. And if you, for whatever reason, if it's not your day, you got to learn to let it go, right? I think Roger Federer told us a really interesting speech about how, like, a point is only a point, and there's a really important skill in letting go of each point and moving on to the next one. So, yes, go and grind it out. If that's how you're feeling, and you get to the end and you're like Liam and you'll feel amazing at the end, awesome. Go and do it. But on any given day, if it's not your day and you need to stop, learn to drop it and move on. All right. So, really good work, guys.
I feel like grinding it out all the time isn't sustainable either. It takes like so much mental capacity to just like thug out 3 hours or 4 hours on the bike. So
Yeah.
if you're doing that all the time, I feel like each session, although you think you might be getting mentally tougher, you just build this angst about like a big session, and it becomes harder and harder. So like Alex was saying, I think it's very day dependent as well.
Yeah, I find it with my experience with like thugging it out, so to speak, is like I'll like, let's say for like a week or two, let's say if I have a couple sessions where I really don't want to do it, I'll have that mindset where like, oh, I actually just need to like shut up and get the work done. And then I'll eventually hit the crash out point where, oh, a session will come past and like I'll have so much hate for the session, I'll just refuse to do it. Like there's a point where it crashes out and it is not sustainable. You're 100% right, but that's like my experience. It lasts for like a week or two, or maybe like even longer. It depends. And then there is a point where it's like you
Yeah.
can't make me do the session.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that ties into what I was saying before about the David Goggins mindset. Like,
Yeah.
it's not sustainable. You can do hard shit for like 2 weeks, but after that, consistency drops, and it just becomes way too big of a task in your head. So
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Very good. Guys, I've loved this chat. I hope you've got a lot from it. Is there anything else that we want to any other questions that we've got? Anything else we want to sort of dive into before we end it there? I do have another question as well. Sorry, quickly. I've constantly had my mic on throughout this call, and there's been a little bit of background noise. Is it annoying on your end? Is it coming through? No. Okay, good. That's nice. Good to know. I like to have mine on because
I
Sorry.
heard a bit of like where you can hear yourself talk just then.
Okay.
I don't know if that was your mic or someone else's, but otherwise it's been fine.
Cool. Well, I do appreciate you guys going in and out with the mics. It makes my life a lot easier, but I think I'll just keep, because I'm usually the one that's got his mouth open the most in these calls. I'll just keep my mic on, I think. Cool. Any other questions, or are we wrapping up there? It's been very good. I might just stop the recording there and then